So here it is. It's the middle of the summer. You're swamped. You got multiple jobs running. You're following back up with many people who you've already provided estimates for. Phone is still ringing. You have a lot of latecomers, right? They didn't plan early for their project and they're trying to get you in now because they want this done by such and such, and they didn't realize they should have been talking to somebody 6 months ago. And every now and then you'll get that one person over the phone. It's like, man, we really appreciate if you just came out like today, tomorrow. We're ready to go. We just need a price. Just come on out, give us that price, and we're ready to get started. So I happen to have a week like that. I make an exception. I normally would have scheduled someone to say, hey, the next available appointment is such and such. But in this particular situation, I made a decision to say, yeah, I'll help this person out. So here I am. I sacrifice my schedule. I race out to meet with them the following day. I spend the time. I walk the property. I look at the house, go back and forth, get all their ideas, understand exactly their vision, explain to them, all right, give me a little bit of time. I'm going to go get a bite to eat. And I'll call in a couple of distributors, getting all your pricing. And I will be back in a couple hours and I'll have your price for you so we can get this ball rolling. And I run back, I hand them the pricing, I have the contract all ready to go. And what do? They just nod and they smile and they're not ready. Yeah, it's a little bit more than we thought. We're going to talk with a few other people. And have you ever had that happen? Yeah, it's happened to me, right? Crickets when you hand them the pricing. So what do you do then? Maybe you follow up once, maybe you follow up twice. They tell you that they might be getting some other quotes. Are they? Who knows? I've been there and I hated that feeling. And I got to a place where I felt like I was wasting my life chasing clients like this. And I learned something that helped me change that process so that I would not be repeating this going forward. And that's what we're going to be talking about now.
Hello, this is the Hack Hour Podcast, a show where it's all about helping real, everyday, hardworking remodelers learn the secrets to having it all in life and business. And now, here's your host, Mike Minges.
All right, so in this episode, I'm going to share with you how you can flip this script and you start finding out if the client is the person that you should be spending your time estimating for, getting pricing, right? Visiting the job site. I know a lot of guys think, well, I just do so much better when I show up in person. Sure you do. And you will do even better when you show up in person when you have first qualified the person before you've even gone out to do that. If you're missing that first step, it's critical that you start implementing this. So I like to refer to it as the Remodeler protocol. And in my opinion, when it is followed, everything changes. So for those of you that are new, welcome to the Hack Hour Podcast. I'm Mike Minges, longtime remodeler and founder of the Remodeling Academy. I'm glad to have you here. The goal of the Remodeling Academy is to help elevate the remodeling experience for all involved. The remodeler business owner, the employees, the vendors, the subs, and the consumer, right? Your client. So welcome, and we have some good information here, so stay tuned. All right, if you haven't also, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. I know you guys have some questions out there, and it's a perfect way to get some answers. All right, so here we go. Let's start with why it's important to have this protocol. See, clients don't actually make decisions based on price. I know. They tell you they do. You're convinced that they do because you've heard enough of them tell you that your price is too high. The reality is that the more time you spend with people, you start realizing that they make decisions based more off of confidence, trust, and emotion. Yeah, emotion is a big one. You will notice that most people buy a lot of things that make no sense economically, but it made them feel good, so it made sense to them. Price just allows a person to say no to you when the other things aren't there, right? When they haven't found the thing that gives them the confidence or trust in you, and for some reason they haven't made the emotional connection to buying what it is you're offering or selling. So if you don't lead this whole process, then the client will end up falling back on some of the only things that they know what to do in a situation where they're uncertain. Comparing bids. They think that in that position, remodeling is like buying some appliance at the store, and they don't know the difference between feature and quality of construction and parts. They'll just start looking at some basic specs and then pick off of price typically, or the color, right? That one makes me feel good. I like the color. You'll hear that a lot. So remodeling in general, when it comes to people's homes, and if you've had any experience buying, selling real estate, right, trying to sell a home, buy a home, you'll know how emotional it is. People make poor decisions because it's a home spoke to them. They, from the minute they saw it, they're like, oh, I have to live in this neighborhood, right? All right, so it's about safety, it's about pride, it's about comfort, and finally, it's about fixing something that's been bothering them potentially for years. So if all you do is try to problem solve and just say, here's problem, here's solution with price, and give just a number, you're missing the chance to become the one that they trust, right, to deliver this new product, this dream of theirs. So that's what the Remodelers protocol is designed to do. It flips to the script. It helps you get a little bit like connected to the homeowner inside their head somewhat. It's a way for you to build that ever important trust, and it allows you to show the prospect a vision that they can, if they join in and they believe in it, then boom, here's the value, and then you can lock in, as they say, that yes. And price just really does not become the big issue like a lot of you are used to it being. All right, so the Remodelers protocol, it's got 5 steps. Each one builds on the last. So if you mess up something early, you're going to struggle as you get farther down the road. So it's imperative that you learn this and you earn the right to practice it, right? The more times you understand the entire process, the more successful you'll be at the end of the road. All right, so here we go. What's the first part? Well, this is where you really want to find out what the client really wants. And what the client wants is not just a kitchen or a bathroom, right? It's why they want it. What's the problem that they're trying to solve? What dream are they chasing or hoping to fulfill? How long have they been dreaming about doing this? What is it that this new kitchen's going to do and provide for them that the current or old kitchen couldn't or wouldn't? All right. Also, second thing, the trust. All right. You prove that you're legitimate. The quicker, the better, right? This is where you stop being just another contractor, a dime a dozen, right? Chucking the truck. And you become the one who gets them and has to be the contractor that they're hiring. There are homeowners, even till today, that are waiting for Jerry to finish a job and come do theirs because Jerry gets them. Jerry knows exactly what they want, and they will wait 2 years for Jerry. That's how you want to be. You want that client to emphatically trust you and say, this is who we have to have do the price. We don't care what it is. We're just hoping we can figure out a way to pay for it. So when you share a real story, you can connect with the homeowners, right? It helps them feel safe with you and you are relatable. So at the end of the day, you're just showing them that you're a person. All right. You have to have some sort of a vision flash with them, right? It's where you present the prospect with their future. Maybe you sketch it out. Maybe it's drawn up on the computer. It could be simple as something put on some scrap paper, right? Or it could be something high-end and fancy. At the end of the day, don't get caught up on this detail, but get caught up on the fact that the picture that you're showing to the prospect has to capture the part of their life that is showing them what it could be, right? Not everyone can envision what this new thing is going to look like in their place. If it's an addition or a kitchen, right? Sometimes some homeowners need imagery. They need photos, okay? So that they can say, now I get it. All right, fourth thing, the value slam, we like to call it, right? This is where you start stacking the reasons why hiring you makes sense. Again, you don't talk about your price, you talk about all the value. And your value is tied to things that the customer wants and that they're going to benefit them, not you, right? So things like, we're able to stick to a schedule, so we'll be able to get things done quickly. Our crew is safe, so you won't have to worry about time delays and injuries and headaches, right? Our guys use better equipment and tools, so the result that you're going to get is something we can do quicker and more precise. We build to a higher level and base standard than other people, so you can trust that our quality is better. What I would share with many homeowners, if your contractor is just building to code, that's like barely getting a C in school, because they're doing the bare minimum to pass. And if you want something that's going to last and provide a lifetime of enjoyment, you want it to be slightly better, right? Overbuilt to some extent. But yes, it has to be better than passing. All right. So this helps make the cheap competition almost look silly. Like, why would anyone pick that person? Look, that's ridiculous, right? No, we want quality. At the end of the day, people want nice things. They might not say that up front to you because they're afraid of being taken advantage of, but they want nice things. That's why Starbucks has a line all the time when you can clearly get coffee much cheaper at many other places. In fact, you can make it yourself at home, but people want the experience. They like how Starbucks makes them feel. They don't have to waste time at home. They can just get in the car and go get their fix. All right. Final thing is you have what we call, it's like a pre-cost close. This is how you can lock in a yes as you're going along the process before you really even get to numbers, right? You can sometimes you get small commitments along the way. Mr. and Ms. Smith, if we were able to get this done by this date, is that something that would work for you? Yes, that would be perfect. If we were able to build to this and that and make it do this and that and look like this picture, is that something you're ready to move forward with? Yes, right? All right. Are you in a position where you guys could, if we can come up with everything, can you sign an agreement and, provide a deposit today? Yes. Okay, good. We're moving in a positive direction. All right. So if you do these things, I have had homeowners say to me, Mike, we're ready to sign. Just tell us where to sign and how much is it going to be again? All right, let's move forward. Like, they're done. They don't need me to go over any more of a process, right? And I've had homeowners stop me and say, we're ready to get going. Like, let's get us on the schedule now. And I'm like, perfect. And I haven't even all they've had shared is some sort of a ballpark that was shared prior to me ever even coming out. And oftentimes the finished sold project price is higher than the ballpark, because while we were talking, we found out so many other things that they had to have. And I would share that along the way. That ballpark I gave you over the phone, if we add this, it's going to bring you over that ballpark. Is that something you're comfortable with? Sure, Mike, we want it. That's fine. We've got it covered, right? And it's amazing. When they already know the price ballparked, they're much more comfortable working with you and even going over the price. It's crazy. Trust me. Try it. All right. So I want to share a few things with you. This is a real example. Like, I've had a client, they wanted a new kitchen, right? And we're talking about the appliances and the layout. And, we've already discussed budget initially, but we're getting a little more into it now that we're actually at the house having our meeting. And I noticed something wasn't clicking 100%. So if you notice a slight disconnect at any time with the prospect, it's best to address it in the moment. So I paused and I said, what do you really want? Why is it that you really want this kitchen? What's bugging you about what you have now? Why do you want this new thing? And the homeowner looked at me and said, I'm tired of fighting with my husband every night about space. Like, we both like to cook. And when you in this kitchen, the way it's laid out, it's tight, it's small, it's stressful. And I didn't fully understand that up until that point. I knew they both like to cook. So we were talking about putting in a lot of features and things that were good for like a chef's style kitchen, but I hadn't fully understood that the wife was tired of getting into arguments and feeling stressed because of the way they moved throughout the space, right? So that's when you start understand that it's really not always about the final price. It's not even always about the countertop or the cabinet. Sure, those things are nice and they want those things, but really what this person wanted was peace around fixing meals. So we were able to like almost backtrack for a second, and I just took out a piece of paper and I drew up a simple sketch. I showed standard spacing between typically a kitchen cabinet row and an island, and I said, or we could bump this out some and give more space. And what about if we stretch the island a little bit? Maybe we need 2 prep zones. And what if we move this over here? And boom, before you know it, the homeowner's looking at me and like, would be my peaceful palace. Like, I'd have fewer fights. We'd have way more feasts. And her eyes were just lighting up. She's smiling. And again, we're not talking price. Like, yes, these changes were going to impact the price, okay? Because now we're making things larger. The island's bigger. The run of cabinets would be bigger, right? But that's what she wanted, was the space and the freedom to move about. So when I came back and said, okay, we'd like to get started with all this. This is what our design fee is going to be so that we can put all this pen and paper before we start the construction. They were ready right there. She goes, great, let me get my check. And she went ahead and wrote a check that night for the design portion of this remodel. Okay. And it's that easy when you connect with the homeowner and the homeowner recognizes that you're able to solve their pain, their problem. Okay. So believe me, like, I didn't always go about the kitchen remodel business this way. And I struggled to get kitchen projects in the past when I just focused on, well, tell me, man, okay, so you want a bigger kitchen? Okay, we'll put the fridge here. All right. And you have a budget of what? And you know, like, that process does not bode well for most of you. And if you're struggling, you're probably not connecting with the homeowner. And especially for a lot of guys in the industry, you're not used to doing this, so it's a little uncomfortable. However, when you learn that little skill and that little twist, you will be shocked at how much simpler and easier this remodeling business can be. All right, so here it is, right? The homeowner, they nod, they say, yes, Mike, that's exactly what we want. And we go forward with the design, and boom. That's how this Remodelers protocol can and does work for you. I've had another situation where a gentleman, younger guy, wanted a deck. And at first he's like, well, I'm just getting some quotes. And when I dug in a little bit deeper on the phone initially, I said, well, tell me, why are you getting a deck? Like, don't you have a deck already? I said, because I knew the neighborhood he was in. And I was like, those houses there, do you have a deck, right? And he's like, yeah, I do. He said, honestly, he goes, I just want to be able to bring my friends over and grill. He goes, my deck looks like crap and I'm embarrassed by it. I haven't hosted in a few years. So if I could get, some of my friends have moved to newer houses and everything they have looks really sharp and everyone likes to come over and, it just feels good to hang out with your buddies on a clean, fully functioning, nice deck, custom deck. And I was like, perfect. I was like, why don't I help you design this hangout deck that you would like? We can figure out where the grill zone's going to be. We can set up a lounge area, and we'll put a little bump out for the grill so that sits off to the side, and maybe we'll do a custom bench, and we can look at some lighting for you, and we can run speaker wire out here, and you can set up some speakers if you don't want to go the Bluetooth route. And before you know it, the guy's like, man, yeah, that's exactly what I want. How quickly could we get that done? So do you see what happens? Like, I'm shifting from just the arduous task of getting a price for a deck to saying, man, let's design this party space that you want and really dial it in so you'll know exactly what it looks like. And boom, you're in. It changes things. You'd be shocked. Again, I'm telling you, if you're not doing it, it'll feel uncomfortable the first time or two until you get your groove. But that switch to going for the design first and saying, look, we charge a small fee for the design. You're free to take that design, do whatever you like with it. And at the same time, that design will then help us come up with your exact cost to build exactly all the things that you want. And homeowners jump on this, okay? So it works well for us. Trust me, it will work for you if you're willing to put in the process and understand how it builds one step after the other. So let me ask you, what if you used a protocol like this on your sales calls, right? What if you didn't just talk about all the basics over and over again, like the materials and this composite material or that shaker style cabinet and the square footage, but what if you started talking about, well, why do you want this project done? What is it that it's going to allow you to do in the future, right? And what happens when you're able to connect with the homeowner and they see you as an advocate, someone who's going to help them get this dream and create the reality, right? So what if you show them just quickly some sort of a sketch? Maybe you have some imagery that you can put in real quick. There's a lot of design apps that can assist you with this. But at the end of the day, you help the homeowner envision this new space and them living in it and what they're going to do with it, right? What if all of that could help close the deal emotionally? And again, you can do this often before that final price even comes up. Remember, you've already shared the ballpark from an initial phone call before you ever agreed to even go out and meet with the client. So think about, how would your sales calls feel now if you were walking away knowing that you're going to be getting paid to do the design and what is then going to be the client's estimate. So you're getting paid to do the estimate. All right. How much more money could you make if you were only taking the time to work with people who were emotionally invested in the project, and they're emotionally invested now with you because they see you as their savior, the person that's going to build this properly? So here's what I can share that I know. When I stopped chasing and I just put forward in motion, this is my process, and I followed this protocol, I was closing more jobs, making more money, and stopped finding myself wasting as much time. You can do the same, but you have to shift from the conversation from price to the purpose, right? You're going from an estimate of numbers to more of an emotion of where this project's going to put the homeowner in the future, right? It's going from sort of being like the contractor to being a guide that the homeowner can trust to lead them over to that finish line. So if you want to go deeper into this, I have a PDF called the Remodelers Protocol Playbook. We can get you that, and it'll help you get you a script, and a way that you can follow up and move your sales in a step-by-step process. All right. And look, if you want to master this even more, then you got to get the book of mine, Get Paid Estimate, and then jump into our 5-day Remodeler challenge. Look, guys, this stuff works. Really, the question is, are you working for your success, right? Are you going to start doing the things that are necessary? So you can start utilizing this today. This time next year, you can be in a much more profitable position. Okay. And you don't have to say, man, I just took another year and lost hundreds of thousands of dollars because I didn't learn how to make more money. So that's it for this episode of the Hack Hour. Until next time, just get out there, keep building smart, selling strong, and standing out in the marketplace. All right, get to work.
Thank you for listening to the Hack Hour podcast. It would be awesome if you would leave us a quick review on iTunes. To further your remodeling success, go to remodelingriches.com.